already told you that you have two things to do. First, you have to pre-study the state chart based on the old all-point slide, and then find out or one of the embedded or real-time system in one of the premises I listed yesterday. Before we start, for this session, we are going to conduct this session in the form of active learning. Okay, so what I want you to do first is create a Google Meet where you will discuss the activity as in the group. You get me or not? Get me right? So instead of using Microsoft Teams, create a Google Meet where I can join later on, where you will discuss among you. So that because I just noticed that if I use Google Meet, it's going to be very fast for me to go from one group to another group. Okay, so if your members are not here today, it's fine. As long whoever are here, because the purpose is, I want to see how you conduct or how you design the state chart. Okay, among your group members. Can you do that? Any question? You don't get me, or you cannot hear me? Okay, kan? Okay, first thing, create a Google Meet to discuss. I put in the chat room to discuss the activity in as a in the group lah. Okay. Second, share the link with me. Why I cannot? Okay, so, all right. So I assume for this session, I'm going to have, how many? I think 20 groups. Okay, Barat, I should have about 20 groups. Okay. So, is it 9 o'clock? All right. Okay, let's start. All right, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. So just now I just briefing what we are going to do for today's lecture. So before, I already put the instruction in the chat room where the leader or anyone in the group has to create a Google Meet link where you're going to discuss the activity in designing the state chart among your group members. So basically, instead of using Teams, we are going to use Google Meet because I want to monitor you very fast. It looks like, based on yesterday experiment, it looks like it's faster than Microsoft Teams. So I don't know. It is just very experimental. Okay, so that's one. Please share the link here in the chat room so that I can go easily lah. Alright. Okay, and then the second one that you have to do is, before we start the activity, is for you to answer this pre-test question. Okay, boleh please. Okay. Undo. How to undo? Undo set. Okay, I share with you pre-test for today's session. Please do this now. I give you 10 minutes. All right. So by 9:15, by right, you already share with me your Google Meet link so that I can join your group using the Google Meet. Okay. So those who are not assigned to have this activity, active learning today, you can stay here. I try to share the screen. It's up to you lah. By right, your session will start at 10. Any question? Senyap je korang. Saya tak tahu dapat ke tak ke. Please do the pre-test first. There is no right or wrong answer. You just answer based on what you know. Okay? So I give you until 9:15.
Morning, Doctor. Are we allowed to ask questions to you about the pre-test?
No, cannot.
Okay.
Answer based on your pre-knowledge, your instinct, whatever you have. There's no right or wrong answer. That one is just a pre-test. There's no mark from there. Don't worry.
Teams.
Are you all okay?
Yes.
So if the leaders already done the pretest, can you share your Google Meet link with me? So for today's class, I have to use another platform. I know that some of you prefer me to use one platform, but it seems like Google Meet has its own advantage. Thank you, Tan. It's only 2 questions. Why is it so long for you to answer? It's very simple, right?
Kejap, kakak Anza ada kerja. Sana. Pergi minta
Don't
pergi suruh
overthink.
kakak Anza.
Thank you, Afiq.
Korang
Thank you, Aiman.
korang okey dah ke? Aku bagi link kat doktor.
Thank you, Emily. I just noticed there are 2 Emilys in this class. So I have to be careful. Thank you, Uy. Thank you, Fitri. Fitri, honey, you do not submit activity diagram yet, right? Thank you, Noatika. Thank you, Junling. Thank you, Bim Halan. Thank you, Tenku. Thank you, Daniel. Okay, so I assume that most of you have done the pre-test. Alright, so now we can start for the activity, for our activity today. So, okay, yesterday I already assigned to the group leader, and I assume the group leader already shared to you about what you have to do for today's class. Okay, first I assume you have read the old version of state machine diagrams PowerPoint slide. Okay, it's quite lengthy, but I hope you get some of the gist. All right, and second one, you have to give me, you have to find out one system on one of the premises. If I'm not mistaken, among them is a faculty, airport, at the house, and another one is a shopping mall. Okay, so you have to choose one embedded system or real-time system that you can get from the faculty, for example. Okay, so maybe if you do not familiar what does it mean by real-time or embedded system, you have to Google lah what does it mean. So I expect your answer is more related to, for example, vending machine system, microwave system, camera surveillance system. So all of these are actually very close to real-time system. The system function according to the time. The time is very critical. Okay, so I assume you already have that. So what we are going to do now is you have to go to your Google Meet that your leader just created. So you have to discuss among your members on how to design the system that you have chosen. All right. So I will go one by one, each group. For you to first, you have to tell me what system that you have chosen, because I'm afraid that you chose wrong system. Okay, that's why I need you to share with me your link. So I hope my network is stable and my laptop is not, not crash lah, because I'm going to open 20 tabs at the same time. Okay, so after I agree with whatever system, but then if your system, you are quite confident that your system that you have chosen, for example like microwave system, camera sensor, so all of this, that you can proceed with the state diagram. Then I will monitor whether your state design is correct or not. Okay, any questions so far? Tak ada, tak ada. Okay, I will go to your link lah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Aku takut.
Tutup.
Kita nak buat apa ya?
Aku rasa bincang balik sistem tu lah. Yang kita cakap semalam. Sekejap
The book, are you talking to me or what? Oh, ada. Oh, you already in here, yeah. How? Huh? So I can hear all of you talking at the same time, is it?
Yeah.
Tak apalah, the other group can listen or not?
Dengar aku Dika?
Not
Dika.
sure.
No, we cannot hear.
Oh, let me
Sekejap, bro.
experiment this.
Aku-
Sorry guys.
Aku macam dengar banyak benda sekali. Aku
Can
macam
we
pening.
Tua.
We can't hear, Doctor. I don't think we can hear.
You
Aku
cannot
rasa
hear?
macam
Okay lah.
aku rasa macam nak lifting tu. Okay, tak apalah. Kejap. Apa tadi? Kau cakap apa? Kejap.
Mereka pun.
Dengar. Okay, so yang semalam yang korang bagi, yang Kimi bagi automated and motion activated lights tu macam boleh sebab tu macam smart home kan. Aku rasa boleh je guna tu. So kita boleh cakap smart home system lah.
Guna pilih satu je kan?
Apa?
So pilih satu je.
Okay, sekejap. Among yang semalam, kita pilih mana yang paling close dengan yang doktor nak lah. Sebab takut salah nanti. Okay.
Ambil yang senang lah nak buat.
Okay. First yang Kimi bagi, automated and motion activated lights. Okay, and then Afa bagi airport, real time update of flights arrival or departure. And then Chai bagi flight control system. Macam state dia bila plane nak take off, plane in the air, plane nak landing. Iwe cakap fire alarm system tapi dia tak explain.
Tak tahu dah.
Tu aku macam Tapi aku rasa fire alarm pun boleh je weh. And then Chai bagi lagi satu, payment system dekat shopping mall.
Payment system macam dia senang.
So korang nak pilih mana nak cakap kat doktor?
Payment system.
Payment system.
Dah.
Okay je.
Kai.
Payment system okay.
Okay, kita buat payment system dekat shopping mall
Dia just yang apa state which diagram ni just berubah state je kan? Dalam satu
Ikut
kelas.
lah.
Dalam satu kelas.
Ikut apa aku faham lah. Tapi tak tahu akan ada benda lain sebab benda ni panjang gila.
Tu aku tak faham juga semalam.
Weh tak, siapa tahu Kimi kat mana?
Tak bangun you lah. Betul jadi, setuju.
Kimi tak bangun lagi kot.
Aku pun terkejut weh. Tadi masuk-masuk kan. Dah lah aku join awal ke aku rasa sebelum pukul 9. Tiba-tiba doktor cakap pasal Google Meet. Aku cakap, ha? Aku memang nak tanya macam selalu je masa-masa lecture and then dia jawab dalam chat tu. Rupanya macam ni.
So kita tunggu doktor masuk je lah kan.
Ha.
Lepas tu cakap kat dia nak payment system, lepas tu proceed dengan lukisan kan.
Kalau doktor kata state yang kita pilih tu
Okay.
sistem yang kita pilih tu okay, then boleh proceed. Tak, kita kena fikir lain lah. Aku pagi-pagi rumah dah lah bising. Ramai.
Meriah.
Ya weh, korang dengar yang tadi budak-budak tu bercakap minta itu.
Budak-budak tu.
Budak-budak adik-adik aku. Ada yang 3 tahun dah datang. Kakak Anja nak telefon. Macam tu. Lepas tu aku tengah dengar doktor cakap, aku dah buka demam. Aku kena lari masuk bilik, kunci pintu. Kalau tak nanti
Malam-
adalah yang masuk tiba-tiba. Okay, so kita buat payment system for shopping mall. Tapi kan weh, payment system for shop kan? Shop dalam shopping mall. Okay.
Malam ni ada meeting tak?
Malam ni sepatutnya ada kan sebab kita nak bincang kelas diagram kan?
Oh, class diagram lah.
Aku dengar ada orang berbisik dia cakap tak ada semua.
Ya, itulah.
Wah, Saitan benar.
Saya
Tapi aku masuk lambat sikit tau.
Kita start pukul 10
Sebelum boleh.
sebab benda tak pressing sangat, tak payah submit minggu ni. Oh, tapi korang mentang-mentang tak payah submit tak nak meeting Lepas tu benda tu bila nak siap?
Boleh.
Malam ni pukul 10 kita bincang kelas diagram. So that macam
So,
Aku rasa Dr. Lee banyak, Dr. John banyak sangat meeting.
Dua tu. Doktor hilang lah.
Tak takut kau main.
Sama.
Hello everyone, Alex here from WarrenOffKeys.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can host your Discord bots on Heroku for free. Now there are pros and cons to using Heroku versus other solutions. Hello everyone, Alex here from WarrenOffKeys.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can create
Mana Kimi tu?
Guys, ada nak prepare apa lagi ke untuk lepas ni present
Mula-mula bagi tahu doktor sistem apa yang kita pilih.
Alright.
Kalau doktor kata okay, and then kita kena buat lah state diagram tu.
State diagram.
Kot.
Alright.
Tapi aku tengok macam ni diorang macam tengah berbincang.
Ngantuk tu.
Itu tu.
Kan?
Balangnya.
Aduh.
Kau tengok sekejap ada budak kecil datang kacau. Apa? Ha? Buang apa? Buang ni. Mana? Buang dalam sampah ni. Ada sampah di sini. Situ je, situ. Bawa adik minum. Sekejap, okay. So kalau kita choose payment, dia ada kelas apa, state apa je Sekejap aku nak ambil. Tak.
Ni yang macam carrier bagi.
Ha?
Macam yang carrier bagi tu. Tak boleh.
Oh, payment benda semua tu boleh je. Sekejap
Tu kira state ke kan?
Aku tak tahulah tu state ke dia punya use case ke dia punya kelas ke. Aku pening. Sekejap Okay, sebab state kan dia dalam each class kan. So macam contoh kalau dalam make payment, dalam make payment tu boleh kira state ke dia bukan?
Dia tak silap aku state tu bukan kelas. Tak tahu lah. Aku
Aku pening. Aku macam tak
state
tahu.
tu je macam benda apa yang berlaku kot.
Entah kan masalahnya. Aku tak faham sangat dia punya lecture note. Siapa yang faham lecture note tu? Macam terangkan sikit.
Memang terlepas tau. Tapi kalau carry punya ni dah mesti kot.
Kimi, kita orang agree nak cakap kat doktor pasal payment system tau.
Oh, okay. Sorry dah.
Tak apa. Korang nanti siapa nak share screen?
Alah.
Ha?
Ha?
Ha? Tapi kita buat dekat tu tau, dekat Draw.io yang kita share tu. Nanti aku buat page baru, nama dia state diagram. Nampak banyak siap.
Kita payment biasa ke payment online?
Payment
Aku tak
biasa
tahu.
je. Payment biasa je.
Payment, cash payment dengan kad payment.
Cashier.
Cash biasa.
Oh.
Guys, aku live dulu. Aku kat
Mhm.
luar. Nanti kan aku join balik.
Okay.
Alright, okay.
Okay, so ikut yang Chai bagi tu kan. Possible state kita ada idle, which is masa tu dekat cashier tu tak ada orang nak bayar. And then bila ada customer dia dah scan semua, dia dah total up. Nanti ada state for request payment. Okay, lepas request payment, confirm payment. Ke nak buat receive payment dulu?
Receive okay tak?
Receive, lepas tu confirm and then complete.
Receive. Okay.
So dia
Ke confirm receive? Tak.
confirm
Tak tahu.
macam mana?
Bukan kalau
Dia
diagram ni pasal time is crucial
Sekejap. Gue pening.
macam sequence diagram
Tu aku tak sure weh. Sebab kalau macam dalam ni, dalam contoh doktor bagi ni macam
sangat.
Aku kurang faham sikit tu state machine diagram
ya weh, aku pun pening. So macam kita basically tengok lecture note tapi doktor tak ada explain apa-apa. Macam tapi kan ada satu contoh ni aku tengok balik kan. State machine diagram for class campaign. So basically kita kena ada one state diagram for each class kan? Betul tak?
ikutkan macam tu lah.
Okay, so ada satu contoh dalam ni state machine diagram for class campaign. And then dia punya state, commission, active, completed, paid.
Tu slide apa? Apa tajuk kat atas slide tu?
Kat atas tajuk dia machine diagram, state machine diagram for class campaign. Slide 19. Aku rasa kita punya lebih kurang je kan? So first kita request. And then tapi sebenarnya aku pun entahlah. Sekejap
Kelas kita make payment je kan?
Ni kelas untuk make payment
Tak, kita punya sistem payment system kan?
Payment system. So kelas dia payment. Ke kelas dia payment? Okay.
Kelas dia payment, bawah dia tu ada state-state dia kan?
Okay. So kalau kelas dia payment, first kita ada kita punya first state kita nak buat apa? Idle ke request ke? Aku rasa idle tu tak payah kot.
Ya.
Tak payah.
Oh, so macam okay je sebab kalau tak ada customer kan?
Idle okay je.
So kita punya state first idle and then second request. Request payment. And then after request receive ke terus confirm?
Receive right?
Receive.
Receive.
Okay. And then after receive, kita confirmkan payment. Lepas dah
Ah.
confirm payment, kira payment complete.
Betul.
So nanti dalam kita punya stack diagram kita ada first idle, and then turun bawah dia ada request, turun lagi ada receive, and then ada confirm, lepas tu complete, and then end.
Habis.
Tapi yang dalam yang dia punya explanation tu
ada explanation pula.
sebab kita kena, okay, ni baru dia punya, kejap.
Oh, dia punya explanation dekat arrow tu kan?
Yeah,
Isha.
Isha. Okay, so kita start diagram kita dengan idle kan. So arrow yang turun dekat idle tu nak letak apa?
No customer. Boleh tak? Nak.
Aku macam pening tau sebenarnya apa benda yang dekat arrow tu. Dia bukan dia macam activity tau dekat arrow tu. Perasan tak?
Activity.
Apa yang dia buat masa tu kan? Okay. So kalau idle activity kita no customer.
Ada customer. Lepas tu kan ada yang bracket tu kan. Dalam bracket tu dalam bracket tu tulis customer equal to 0. Untuk customer equal to 0. Dalam bracket tu je macam, tak silap aku je macam apa punya?
Condition.
Condition lah. Kan.
Betul.
Dalam bracket apa satu?
Bracket petak.
Bracket petak. Macam contoh dia kat sini kan. Daripada commission turun pergi dekat active tu. Dia ada authorization code, and then dalam dia punya condition is contract sign. Maksudnya after contract dia sign, baru dia punya campaign tu aktif. Wait, yang kalau ni yang ada slash tu, itu apa benda tu? Mak, pening aku. Oh, tu pun dia punya action lah kan? So apa action masa pening. Kejap. Doktor kat grup mana sekarang? Wow, grup ni dah lukis. Hebat. Weh, tapi diorang punya state diagram sumpah aku mula-mula ingat activity diagram je.
Kira.
Kejap. Okay. So mula-mula kita kena ada action expression. And then ada guard condition. Peningnya.
Kita start lukis boleh tak? Kita dekat app diagram.
Boleh.
So aku rasa boleh start lukis kita, sistem kita macam okey kan.
Tambah satu page ya?
Buat satu page.
Yang kanan sekali. Okey.
Kanan sekali. Tak nampak pun.
Refresh.
Oh, baru ada. Baru refresh. Okay. Boleh lah start.
Yep.
So mula-mula kita startkan diagram kita dulu. And okay, dah ada orang letak.
Baik pakai lucid tu.
Itulah sebenarnya.
Pakai
Tapi
lucid
kan
lah.
aku baru tahu macam mana nak guna lucid. Aku baru tahu yang kita boleh guna siswa mail sebenarnya. Macam kalau kau guna siswa mail, kau boleh guna semua feature.
Oh, selama-lamanya.
Tak tahu lah.
Tapi boleh lah. Yang baik pakai lucid tu.
Nak guna lucid ke? Sekejap.
Lucid je, real time je. Elok ni.
Lucid chart.
Tu share link kat sini ya.
Sign up for free. Wait, aku baru nak buat account tau Lucid Chat ni. Sebab semalam yang tu, masa tu aku meeting database. Lepas tu Wei Hong cakap kalau guna apa tu nama dia? Kalau guna siswa mail sebenarnya tu. So aku tak tahu sekarang nak buat apa. Okay, cuba siapa-siapa yang ada Lucid Chat share screen. Sementara aku cuba main-main benda ni. Oh weh, betul tu. Kalau korang guna siswa mail, bila kau masuk tu kan, dia bagi dekat atas tu dia letak you have been given a free education account. Sekejap aku tunjuk
Pakai siswa mail
pakai siswa mail. Nampak tak dia tunjuk macam ni, you have been given a free educational account. Wow.
Ya, nak register lah.
Okay, register. Macam yang dekat register tu kan, kau terus buat guna Google. Lepas tu pilih Google, lepas tu terus pilih siswa mail kau. Kita ambil apa? Flowchart
State diagram.
Okay, ataupun siapa-siapa yang pandai guna Lucid Chat, buat satu, lepas tu share link. Nanti korang join. Aku tak reti guna Lucid Chat. You cepat
Baru nak sign up. Share screen lah. Mesti aku tunjuk.
Okay, kejap. Okay, lepas tu
Pergi je dekat new.
kita nak buat apa? Template flowchart kan? Ke buat blank game?
Kita buat pada kosong lah.
Lepas tu macam mana
New.
ni dokumen?
New.
Kat mana new?
Tu kan tambah new tu.
Oh. Mana tu? Oh. Alah bodohnya.
Receipt
So,
chat
ambil-
document.
Okay. Bodohnya. Okay. Okay, lepas tu macam mana aku nak
Lepas tu,
share ni kat korang? Ni
ah,
share.
Share.
Sekejap, dia bagi aku tick. Oh, tapi dia lebih kurang je dengan ni kan sebenarnya.
Android aku.
Okay, share.
Tapi dia real time dia lagi okay lah.
Oh, okay. Share blank diagram payment system diagram. Okay, lepas ni kita guna ni. Get shareable link. Edit and share kan?
Tu lah.
Copy link. Okay. Okay, go. Masuk. Then. Cepatlah jangan aku.
Lepas bawah lagi kan dekat tekan tambah shape.
Ni.
Lepas tu search lah
Lepas tu,
apa.
UML.
Try tekan.
Aku ambil UML. Lepas tu timeline.
Cuba try search.
Search.
Pilih apa activity
Search apa?
diagram. Activity diagram ada.
Activity.
Okay tu. Tekan je lah use
Ada
selected share.
UML tu. UML
Dah keluar semua.
Oh, keluar semua. Wow. Okay, mula-mula start. Oh, dia kena drag Aha. Weh, aku sumpah macam memang budak baru belajar. Comel ni aku.
Ya Allah.
Weh, mana dia punya arrow? Oh, arrow dia dekat situ. Wow. Mampuslah. Macam mana nak tukar arrowhead? Oh, di sini. Kita ambil enter, buka. Mampulah, aku tengah excited ni. Terima je lah korang. Okay, so itu start. Lepas start kita ada Kantuk je Dev. Tak apa, faham.
Lambat sangat doktor ni.
Tak weh, sebab kan banyak gila link. Lepas tu doktor tak boleh nak join semua sekali macam yang dia
Dia buat
plan
semua-
awal-awal. So dia macam dia kena join sikit-sikit. So aku pun tak tahulah.
Aku kan ngantuk satu pisang.
Tu lah
Kan?
sama.
Sebab kita macam tak buat apa-apa. Aku dah ngantuk lapar. Kau bayangkan tadi aku bangun-bangun jam kelas, tiba-tiba doktor cakap benda tu. Masa aku tak sempat buat apa-apa pun. Tak teratur hidup. Okay. Mula-mula kita letak idle kan? Idle. Mana dapat state tu? Okay. Mula kita ada idle. Lepas tu kita ada request. Sekejap. Dia state tu huruf kecil, huruf besar? Huruf besar Request. Lepas tu kita copy paste. Weh! Oh, dia copy paste ke? Oh, boleh. Lepas request kita ada Huyo! Terus N
Aku kasi macam tu ke. Dah.
Betul lah. Lepas tu receive. And then Confirm. Aku buat ni, korang gerak-gerak. Mana lagi? Weh, kenapa? Awak banyak sangat tu. Confirm. Shutdown. Complete.
No, shutdown.
Shutdown ke complete situ? Ke complete dulu lepas tu shutdown?
Oh, kan shutdown ke ah?
Shutdown tu macam close lah kan? Close state. Ya, aku suka tengok arrow korang bergerak-gerak.
So complete right?
Complete. Okay. So shutdown tak payah?
Shutdown tak payah.
Okay.
Tak payah right? So kita punya macam ni satu line je kan? Easy.
Lepas tu tarik-tarik je lah kan? Ya Allah, aku dah tarik
Kita ni tak ada condition apa-apa. Macam kalau tak terima, dia boleh sekali.
Patutnya ada. Tapi sebab kita tak bincang lagi. Okay, bincang cepat. Oh, arrowhead ni memang each arrow aku kena tukar Okay.
Okay, benda basic lah.
Okay. Okay, lepas tu apa tadi Kimi cakap?
Kalau tak terima,
kalau tak terima, maksudnya dia receive tapi tak boleh confirm kan?
kat tu lah.
So dekat confirm ni masuk pergi request balik kan?
Yep. InsyaAllah tu.
Kena ada condition ke? Oh, decision. Wow.
Kena.
So receive pergi dekat situ sekejap. Kecilnya. Okay, letak dekat sini.
Right, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. So just now we just have activity learning for some group. I'm sorry for the rest who cannot join. But can you share your answer with me after this? You can share it now. Do not expect it to be right or wrong, doesn't matter because you do not learn it yet. Okay?
Oh, dah kena hantar dah.
Before we start, for those who do not involve with the active learning, I got another 20 groups by right who do not join the active learning. Can you do the pre-test now? I give you the link up here in the chat room at the beginning of the session. Berapa I send kah? Tak ingat dah. The one I mark with. Can you do it now before we start our session?
Doctor, do we send the state diagrams in the Teams?
You can share it here. Okay. For those I do not check yet, can you share your answer in here in the Teams?
Oh, kita kena bagi gambar
kena bagi gambar.
Upload, right?
Okay. Sekejap. Siapkan dulu.
Don't forget to put your name. Just simply put state diagram and I do not know who this belongs to. Alright, so for the rest who do not do the pre-test yet, please do the pre-test. I assume there are other 20 groups who do not join active learning at 9 o'clock.
Like tak payah.
So
tak
please
expect
do the
betul-betul
pretest
tak
now.
perlu
I
belajar.
give you
Tak,
5
cuma
minutes.
macam kita tak ada
So our
action.
Kita tak ada benda yang trigger
Sekarang
dia.
pukul 10.
Kita
I
tak ada
give you
action,
10
tak ada
minutes.
trigger,
So our class will start
tak ada
at
requirement,
10:25.
tak ada user
Alright.
requirement.
Okay. I think I share my screen. So this is the link. Right. There is no right or wrong answer. Don't worry. Just do whatever you think that might be the answer. Okay. Before we start our lecture after this.
Okay, sekarang aku rasa kita just kena
The first 20 groups who just did
buat
the activity, the active learning, you can refine whatever you have left and then share your answer here in the team so that other members
macam
can
mana
look at
macam
your
mana
sample.
macam mana nak tulis?
Alright.
Macam mana nak tambah teks?
Thank
kat
you.
standard
While
tu ada
waiting,
T.
your friends doing the pre-test.
Scroll atas.
Scroll atas,
Bukan. Yang belah kiri tu.
belah kiri.
Yes,
ada
we
ada
continue
T.
our lecture at 10:25. So sekarang pukul 10:17.
Okay. So Idil pergi dekat request, apa
Toilet
terjadi?
ke, nak pergi apa ke. Dia hang lah.
Idil pergi kat request.
Interview request. Make payment tak boleh.
Tak. Sekejap, aku rasa Idil pergi kat request tu.
Have customer. Tak.
Product customer, lepas tu product scan lah kan?
Boleh tak? Tak scan.
Ada orang tengah bercakap ke?
Team kot. Bukan. Tak tahu. Find card.
Sekejap, aku pening. Okay. No. Sini just kita cakap. Customer equal 1. Weh, sekarang ni kat EY aku ikut kau punya atas. 0 means no, 1 means yes kan? Just true false je tekan.
Pasal customer equal to ya kot.
Okay, lepas tu kita kena cakap pasal apa? Pasal product scan. Tak tahu dah aku. Yang aku tahu bawah ni kita kena ada buat request payment.
Tengok.
Macam mana nak gerakkan benda ni? So tu kat sini. Okay. Lepas tu request dekat receive ni okay, lepas dah request turun dekat receive tu nak buat apa? Kenapa turun dekat receive?
Total payment kot. Total lah. Rasanya kan?
Kejap. Apa tadi?
Total payment. Maybe. Editing.
receive maksudnya dia buat payment lah kan?
Receive, customer buat payment, cashier dapat minta duit.
Okay, maksudnya dia request and then lepas dia request, dia receive payment. Apa benda dia Apa dia punya condition Ke receive tu tak payah sebenarnya? Ke nama dia lain?
Pasal receive tu.
Receive. Macam okay, aku rasa kan receive. Lepas tu dekat yang kita punya valid not valid tu boleh buat pasal amount betul ke tak.
Okay lah.
Okay, sekarang ni dekat receive tu nak buat apa?
Receive tu apa? Apa tahu.
Dia punya receive payment. Macam tu, okay. Tak apa, dia tak payah betul pun. Janji kita siap, lepas tu hantar.
Betul.
Validate payment, okay. Dah, okay ke? Belum ke?
Okay kot. InsyaAllah tu.
Okay.
Tak, ni dekat complete payment ni apa? Satu ikut slash off.
Dia okay, sekejap ni tak boleh kat situ. Kena bawa keluar. And then complete payment tu, completed payment tu line baru. Start slash tu. Kenapa aku tak boleh edit?
Itu aku pun tak boleh kot. Dapat line dia kali hijau. Tak.
Payment equals true. Payment equals true. Completed payment.
Assalamualaikum and very good morning. So today we are going to learn state machine diagram. So before we start, please make sure that you have submit the attendance for today's class. Alright. So okay.
Aku boleh submit attendance. Korang dah submit attendance?
Yeah.
So before we go to state
Tu kalau
diagram, we have to look at the difference between state diagram and sequence diagram.
Dia tak payah.
So the sequence diagram is very particular, focuses on the execution of a set of classes. Basically, we want to know the interaction between classes involved in the system, alright, based on the use case scenario. However, for behavioral state machine diagram, its full name is actually behavioral state machine diagram, should be used if you are interested in understanding the dynamic aspect of the single class, alright? So, and how its instances or objects evolve over time, okay? So that is why sometimes
Dia ajar tu.
I mute. That is why when you look at when you have sequence diagram, you have many classes up there, whether it's a boundary class or entity class or control class, it doesn't matter. But one class can have many objects, all right? So these objects sometimes represent the states of the class, okay? So basically, state diagram, some of the objects of classes are dynamic, that they pass through a variety of states over the time. Okay, for example, a leaf can change over time from being stopped to moving. Alright, so let's say if you want to have a state diagram for a leaf system, so basically leaf is about stop and moving, the leaf itself. So the class is the leaf. However, if you talk about the leaf system in general, you cannot have leaf alone. You also need a controller. You also need button. Okay, so all of these classes have its own states. So this is a common single complex class and how its instance evolves over time. For example, physical device, phone, vehicle, microwave, oven. Okay. So I have to focus on state because I know that there are two major measurings here that will involve a lot of embedded system and real-time system, especially those who are taking network and AI. Alright. So before this is more on the process flow, the system interaction. So maybe it's very close to students who are doing software engineering, IS, data science. Alright. So however, regardless, you have to know about this as well. Okay, so because I noticed that some of your sequence diagram or class diagram, for those who comes from network, they draw all of the server or the edge server. Okay, I understand that you learn a lot, and then how are you going to have state from that? Okay. My V, alright, and then the behavior is vehicle is move or accelerate. It depends on the slowing down. It depends on how you define the state of a vehicle, alright. And then you can also have something like transactions and related business objects. This one is more like accommodation system, e-commerce system, alright. So how does a business react to an event? For example, what should happen to an order if a cancelled event occurs? So you have object order, and then the identity is parameters lah, order number, the date of the order, and the behavior is create, cancel. That is the behavior, and then it means that the state involved is created, cancel. Okay. So behavior is very close to the methods, functions, if you want to relate with the program code. The state is the status. Okay, one state can have many behaviors, many methods. All right. So same thing goes to payment. You can have unpaid and paid. You see? Okay. Another one is about role mutators. A person changing roles from being a civilian to a veteran. All right. From public to student to graduate. Okay, so this is a mutator, role mutator. So because we know that when we have UML, use case diagram, you have a lot of actors, and some actors, that's why some groups I commented that, oh, you have many actors, and then you make it generalization, but then they are doing the same thing. But actually what you are trying to say, I know that they have different processes, but then they are doing the same thing. Let's say registration. Registration for new student is not same as the old student, but they are doing registration, isn't it? So this one we call it as a role mutation. Okay, you can represent this in state diagram. Okay, to show the the purpose is to show the different state of an object, obviously. So this is the example. So we can show in two ways: to model the behavior of a complex reactive object, and then to model legal sequences of events. Okay, so we will look at it later. So this is the syntax. It starts with the initial state, okay, and then end with the final state, same like previous diagram lah. And then we have state with the rounded rectangle, okay, rounded rectangle, and then we also have transition, okay. So the transition is a normal arrow, okay, with an empty headed arrow, alright. So you can have the name of the arrow or the transition. It can be in this format: event trigger / action. Alright, this is the a complete one lah. Right, there are many ways. For example, you can have like simple self transition. Just put event trigger. You don't need to have action. The slash, you don't need to put the slash. Okay, so but basically this is the syntax of a state diagram. Right, this is what I just talked about. So a state is changed by some event, right, operation or some triggers. Triggers, for example, condition. The simple one is a condition. Okay, so you can have, let's say, vehicle. You can have started, moving, stop. All right. And then you can have transition, just like I said. Okay. And then you can have initial state. You can have final state. All right. Same like previous diagram. So this is a complete one for vehicle plus. All right. So the state represent for one particular class. All right. So in this case, we have vehicle. The state, there are 3 states involved with vehicle. Started, whether you want to talk about it started, or it's about moving, or it's about stop. Okay. It's just like your Facebook lah. You can have friend, unfriend, block, right? So those are status. Okay. And then you can have like what? Single, married, taken, teman tapi mesra, doesn't matter. All of these are status. You have to remember the name here, it must be a state name. You cannot have a name that, a verb. No, it's not verb. It's not noun. It's it must be adjective lah. Usually we call it as an adjective status, right? So, all right, now we want to talk about the transition. Okay, so the transition has this syntax where you put the event name. Okay, here you have this event name. So, an event signature is described as event name, okay, or event label. Sometimes they call it as a label, right? Comma separated parameter list. You can have that. And an event appear in the internal transition compartment of a state or on the transition between state. Okay, there are 4 types. Call event, okay, basically methods lah, right? Time event, you put the time occur so that it will change between one state to another. And then we have signal event corresponding to the arrival of a signal. What trigger that state? Sometimes it's not start, it's straight away trigger something. And then change event. A change event occurs whenever a specified condition. Okay, you can, this one is like, this one condition. This one is like gut. Okay. Let's see the example. So this is the call event. Okay. UI page. So another way to represent state diagram is through the UI page. All the pages involved. Okay, because we know that one page is going to have a lot of functions, right? So some pages appeared, activated, triggered by something, some other pages. So all of this we can represent it as a state for website system, for example. Okay. So when doing UI modeling, it can be useful to understand the legal sequence between web pages or windows. So for example, you can start from home page and then go to product list page through search. Okay. So this one is the condition. Okay. And then you can, if you select from the product list page, it will go to product page based on the selection. So in the product page, you can add to shopping cart, do all the shopping things lah in the product page. So from home page as well, you can go to help. Okay, if you click help, for example, it will go to help page. So this is what it meant by these UI pages. Okay, based on web page. So this one is a little bit different. Before this, it depends on the event trigger, procedural call. This one based on time, okay, based on time. So this time, it means that you put that as a event label. So for example, for this grade rate, it start with pending. Okay. Once you know what is the rate of the grade, then it will go to pending, and then it will change to active once the rate start date less or equal to current date. Okay, and then it will go to lapse if the rate finish date less or equal to current date, and then it will lapse for 1 year until it's final. Okay, it's just like when you graduate lah. Your status after you finish this program is a graduate, right? But then there might be like keeping your record for 5 years. So there is a lag. After 5 years, then you will finish, then exit from the system automatically. So before that, you are still there. Your name is still in the system as a graduate student, and then we'll keep your information for 5 years. Same goes for your answer, your exam booklet. We have to keep it for 5 years. Once after 5 years, then we can remove it from our server. Okay, another one is a parameter list. You can have something like this. This one is another trigger from commission to active. You can see here. This one must correspond to an operation. Authorize. This one is the operation, and then contract sign is the guard. Okay. So the other one is the action involved. Okay, set campaign active. Alright, wait before I go to that part. There is another one. Doesn't mention it here. Okay, never mind. Okay, so so this is how activity expression. This is the syntax for event trigger. Okay, event name, parameter list, and then the constraint or guard, and then the activity expression. So basically, what I can say about, usually you got problem with the activity expression because what does it mean exactly? So if I can relate with the program code, and the activity expression is more on the what line of code in, for example, authorize function that must be triggered in order to change the state from commission to active. Because when you talk about program code, there are many lines of code, right, for authorized function, for example. But which one exactly that will be determined? This is the time, this is the point where it will change from commission state to active state. Okay, so this one is set campaign active lah. Okay. Alright, so that is for transition. Another one about state, okay, before this you can see that the state is just, you put the name of the state, right? But then actually there is another way where you can make it more refined, alright? So you make it into compartment. The first, the upper part is the state name and the below part is the activities compartment. So it's always start with the entry, do and exit. Okay. So entry is the perform upon entry. Start that initial. Okay. So the do is the ongoing behavior. And then exit is the perform upon exit. Alright. So if you have to come up with the entry, do, exit, right? It's not necessarily that one state can have all entry, do, exit. Alright, let's say you have the option, alright, instead of, let's say in the exam, okay, it says that you must figure out the entry, do and exit for each state that you have produced, alright. You have to bear in mind that not all states have entry, do, exit. It means that there are some states only have entry and do. There are some states only have do and exit. There are some states is only do. So it's not like, okay, I want to have this, I want to use this format. It means that I must have entry, do, exit. No. Okay, it's not compulsory to have all three. Okay. So for example, for this one, you just have entry and exit. There is no do. It is fine. Okay. But then this one is more refined lah. So if you have this kind of state, so people will understand more about your state diagram. Okay, more detail. So this one is more composite state. Composite state, actually this one, one of the groups already did this. We call it as a composite state, nested state, something, okay? So it means that you have a state where inside the state has many substates. See, I'm not remember which group just now, but I commented that you did little bit wrong because it's always start with this again. Even though you already have this, start and then do something like this, right? And then go to here, and then here you will have substate. So it start with the initial state again, and then end with the end node. Okay, and then after that, after this, maybe you will have like this. Let's say if you want to have complete one, right? So this is an example. Sometimes you do not want to have a very detailed. You can have a conceptual layer. So you just put this label so that people know this serving customer has substates. Okay, it's not alone, right? Okay, hidden composition indicator icon, right? Let's say if you have active state of campaign with a detail hidden. Okay, the submachine running is referenced using the include statement. So actually it's like this. Okay. So this is inside active. Right. I'm not really sure why it goes to double dot running just now, because you also have monitoring, right? So maybe it wants to show the focus, okay? But basically, this is the one that you must know. Okay, so this is what we call it as a nested state. Usually for active, the complete state diagram is like this. It's only like start, go to active, and then go to passive. It's always like this. It's just like a button now, on and off. But when you talk about on, actually there are so many states inside that. You know, so many things happen. So you will have something like this. Then we go to like this. It's just like for a robot, you know, it's a stop or move, right? Maybe idle, is it? I'm not sure. So, but while the robot is moving, there are so many other states involved. You know, the eye is censoring the location, the distance between, you know, of the object, the proximity happen, blah blah blah, everything. Okay, so that is why state is very critical for AI people. You have to know this. So because when you have to, when let's say you want to detect you want to come up with the image processing system to detect whether this apple is a good apple or not. Okay, so what is it? You, other than AI or the machine learning, the machine itself must be able to on and off, remove, accept, remove, accept. So how are you going to do that? Because AI is not only the system, you have to know the hardware as well. If not, then half cooked lah. Your system is half cooked. It's not like you are developing accommodation system. In fact, for those who have to develop accommodation system, e-commerce system, you have to know the network, the server. You develop the website, you go to the server, and then the server, is it enough to support all your data? You still need to know, not in detail, but you have to know a little bit, isn't it? So even worse for network students, system on chip, even more lah. It's all about the hardware thing. So you have to know the states. Once you clear the state of the hardware involved, then you know what program code that you will have all this case 1, case 2, case 3, because you understand the behavior of the hardware. Okay. Alright, again, same like the previous diagram, it also have for and join. Okay, so this thing lah, right? Implicitly showing how an event trigger a transition to a state with nested concurrent states. Okay. Oh, this is the one that you draw just now, eh? Yalah, you do it like this. Okay, never mind. We talk later. Okay, this is another example, front, rear. Okay, this one for brake. Okay, applying front brake, applying rear brakes, alright? Okay, this one is another choice, is option. It's just like if else lah. Actually, you can see from here, it's not necessarily you have to do like this. You also can have something like this. This one okay, this one also okay. Why it shows this diagram? Because it means that you can have more. You see? Because there are some situations where you got many if else. It's not only 3. So you can have this lah. So how to prepare state machine? First, you have to know the class. Which class? You're going to have a lot of classes, I'm sure. But which class that is complex and is dynamic, right? It has a dynamic behavior. So then you have to examine an interaction diagram that select with the selected class, and then identify and document the incoming messages that change the state of the object, and then identify the document state and elaborate using the for and join and etc. Right? And then lastly, you have to check its consistency with the use cases, class diagram, and other UML diagram. So I will not go into this one, okay? Because I got confused. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this. I just use this one, okay? All right. Actually, for state diagram, there are 2 ways. The one that you are listening right now is about behavior. Okay, behavior. All right, behavioral. So it's very close to process flows. That's why we focus on this. Okay, so we use this sequence diagram for what? Record completion of a campaign. Okay, so basically you can see from this sequence diagram, you can annotate where the states happen. Okay, so in this case, you can see here. I know that one of the diagram that you have produced for your project is the state diagram. So then now this is the time where the PIC of the state has to talk again with the sequence diagram person, which one that is the most relevant for state. Once you decide which class has states, then the sequence diagram person can include this. So what does it mean? Kena redo ke doktor? Yes. Part 2. Do not delete the whatever you have submitted, but then you will refine for your final report. Okay, so you will include that. So here for this record completion of a campaign, they see that campaign class has two states. Okay, basic state, alright, active and completed. It could be more, alright, in between, but it start with the active and completed, alright. So from there, okay, so this is how the state diagram looks like. I just want to highlight lah. The label start with SM, state machine, okay. And then this is the class name, okay. This one, version 1 is no lah, this one for example, okay. You can remove that one, this one, you can have, alright. So it start with the start initial node and end node. So inside the campaign is you can start with the commission and go to advert preparation and then scheduling and then running advert, and then this is the loop, okay, until campaign completed, and then it goes to completed, and then it goes to paid. Okay, lastly came paid. So once the status is paid, so before this process is end, they will archive the campaign information. Okay. Alright. So this one is a initial state machine for campaign class, right? Using behavioral approach, right? And then let me check. So this one, they refine the state machine, okay. So they revise back. So they just put this part. All of this actually is the active process, okay. So this one active comes from SD, okay. So that's why you know that, because we know that from the sequence diagram you have active and completed. So it means that you have this active and completed. Okay, these two are major states, alright. And then initial by commission and then end by paid. Alright. So let's say for your project, you only have active and completed only for your state machine diagram. It's okay, it's good already. You just follow whatever exactly you put in your sequence diagram. That's fine. Okay. This one, if you can imagine more, alright. So okay. So this is how it refined to a second level. Actually, there is another one, but I don't want to show you the advanced mutation. They're using history and all, and then abrupt stop. So you don't need to know lah. You can learn more from the internet, from other resources, but for this class, I just stop until here. Okay? Any questions? Any questions so far? Tak ada. Alright. So, actually this one is taken from the case study car enters car park, taken from the old notes. Alright, I like this because you can see that how a system works with the hardware, you know, because usually we always separate it, okay, but actually the car park system cannot run without all this bar and then the machine, ticket machine, okay. So that's why I just show you this. Wait, network dah slow. I have to share screen again. Okay, so this one you have to design a car park system where it allows the driver to park his vehicle at the parking lot. Right, the driver has to go to a ticket machine where it is situated at the entrance of the parking lot, and etc. Blah blah blah. And lastly, the ticket machine will be in active mode until it receives next request. So this one is quite straightforward case study where you can actually figure out what are the states involved, right? So you can see from here, inactive mode. This one is one state, right? Activated. See, this one is another state. So basically, I always advise students the easy way to understand how to get states from a case study is to figure out the adjective. Okay, kata sifat. But then it's quite hard if we talk about website. The website system, that is a little bit difficult lah, because but then you can I already show you one way to represent the state using for website system is based on its UI, main UI, not all UI. Okay, so from here you can have this. Okay, so this one this is a sequence diagram, but for protocol state machine. There are two types of state machine. One is a behavior, another one is protocol. Protocol is easier, senang, because you just mention the guide, the condition. That's all. You don't really care about the operation. What is the trigger? What is the guide? The condition that we change from one state to another. That's it. Okay. So this one you can see activate function, then the barrier is lowered and the ticket machine is active. Alright. So the ticket requested, and then it means the raise barrier will raise lah. Okay. And then it will deactive the ticket machine. So at this time the barrier will raise up, and then the ticket machine is blocked. It will not receive any ticket. Once the ticket machine is blocked, then the wet sensor will activate a lower barrier. Okay, lower barrier, once we have to activate the weight sensor this time because we have to make sure that the car has gone through, okay, the barrier. Then after that it's lowered down, and then once the barrier lowered, then the ticket machine is inactive. Right? So there are two classes has states. Okay, two classes have states. So this one for the barrier. So we annotate it as a protocol. So you can see it's very straightforward. I prefer this one lah, is because very straightforward and senang. The precondition, the trigger, the postcondition, easy. So the barrier state, raise and barrier raise time is more than 20 seconds. This one is the precondition. Okay, and then the trigger is a lower barrier. Okay, the lower barrier you can refer back to the sequence diagram. Then the post condition is barrier state with lowered. So the protocol is very simpler lah. So for your project, it depends on which class that you choose. There are some classes where it's quite hard for you to use protocol, right? But there are some classes it's quite easy. That's why the activity just now, when I ask you about what classes that you choose, most of the time I will give example button, because it's easy. This one, because of this, easier, right? Okay. Any question? All right. So if you have no question, before you left, jangan tinggalkan saya lagi. Please answer this question. Sekejap hilang dah. I put in the chat room. Okay. So the question is more or less the same thing, but this time I assume with some knowledge. All of you, okay, answer this question. Do not question again. Okay. All right. So any question for today's lecture? Senang kan? Senyap je, pandai dah.
Excuse me, Doctor.
Yes.
For the if-else situation, is there a limit to how many if-elses there can be?
No, there's no limit. If you have more than 2, if you make it 2, then you will have beautiful diamond lah. If not, then you have to do the one that in the example. This one. They call it as a pseudo state. But this one is the diamond for the choice option. Any other question? Good question. Thank you. So if you have no question, please answer the post test. It's very simple. Okay. Hopefully this time you give me correct answer, right? And because you have looked at the example through the PowerPoint slide, and then okay, what else? Okay, I forgot. There's one thing. Never mind. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you very much. Oh, activity diagram. I already checked your activity diagram. Majority did well. No comment. I did not comment anything. It means that there's nothing to comment. Okay. However, please check. There's, I think, 2 or 3 groups that I commented. Okay. It means that you did badly lah. So you have to redo something. Okay. The rest are good. Okay. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you very much. See you on Thursday for tutorial session. Okay, bye.
Thank
you, Doctor.
I have one question. It's not today.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes, what question?
Okay, so my question is for events, for call and signal events, the format of the transition string is like your trigger signature and then your constraint, right?
Yes, and then slash
your expression. Right.
Activity expression.
So I want to ask, is the trigger signature necessary, or can we just include constraints only?
It's not compulsory. You can have only trigger, you can have only expression, but then if you only have expression, it means it must start with the backslash lah, because it comes after backslash, right? The backslash, the expression. Or maybe you only can have the
constraint.
The constraint.
Okay. All right. Got it. Thank you, Doctor.
Any other question? Okay, no question. So please do the post test. Thank you.